Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 3 of the anime series Kantai Collection, KanColle. Another interesting episode, this one, because it kind of switched it up a little bit going into the opening of it. I thought we were going to get right into the heat of battle, and actually the first half of the episode is still kind of carrying over with the aesthetic of Fubuki's, being very intimidated by the oncoming battle. The orders are officially passed down by the Admiralty, by Nagato in this episode. She calls basically a staff meeting and outlines exactly what they're going to be doing. It's kind of a bait and switch plan with this W Island, a suspected abyssal stronghold, and she lets us know that most of the abyssal forces in the area they've been successfully able to take down, but what they're planning on doing here is sending in Torpedo Squadron 3 to sort of stake out the island and get an idea of what the enemy's doing, what they're up to. And the hope is that come nighttime, Torpedo Squadron 3 will be able to lure them out. And the stronger and sort of, legacy, if you will, forces are going to be able to attack and dispatch the enemy in a night, sort of showdown, nighttime showdown. And, of course, Sendai is just, absolutely through the roof excited for that because, of course, she is the night owl of the group, so to speak. But I like that this episode didn't entirely have to go on reiterating Fubuki's training process. We do see that she is pushing herself in training once again, but there's not a large emphasis on it. More so in this episode, do we see the focus shift or at least get shared a little bit between Fubuki and her roommate, Mitsuki, who is calling back to very much the same feelings and similar feelings she had when she first became part of this group. And she was taken under the wing by Kisaragi, who she describes as sort of her sister. I don't know if they're actual sisters or if she just means, sisters in arms, that kind of thing. Because there are a couple of scenes that they show that seem to imply there might have been a sort of romantic relationship between Mitsuki and Kisaragi, as Kisaragi was there to take Mitsuki under her wing and kind of show her the ropes and show her that confidence is something she had within herself, as long as she trusted her own instincts. And so these are things and themes that Mitsuki's trying to pass along to Fubuki. And we see that, there are even some choice words between Fubuki and Akagi, as well as Mitsuki, talking about, there's this large emphasis on being in the moment and telling the people that you care about, that you're surrounded by in the moment, that you love them, taking every opportunity to tell them how you feel about them because they might not be there tomorrow, that kind of effect. And that's something I always champion in real life anyway. So I really appreciated that idea, especially dealing with these girls who are these, warlike vessels, incarnate, I guess you'd say. They're going to be fighting real battles. And I was kind of afraid with all the emphasis on Mitsuki's, wanting to share the love and wanting to basically pass that message on to Kisaragi that maybe Mitsuki was not going to make it to the end of this episode. And of course, if you've seen the episode by now, you kind of know how that played out. It was somewhat different and still very unexpected and very emotional. There was a big time impact by the end, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I thought it was really just hilarious when Mitsuki and Fubuki are sharing the love when they're back in their room and you have Yudachi there and she's like, well, what am I, just in the way? And she's getting all upset and everything like that. Yudachi is one of the cutest, most kawaii characters in this series. I love how she says poi after every word. Like, they don't translate it in the subs as you're watching, but I can hear her saying it repeatedly. And every time she does, I chuckle because it's just so adorable. But of course, you have all of the sort of surrounding, classmates or squadron, whatever you want to call it, giving Fubuki, charms, like there's a luck charm that she's given by Atago, I guess is her name. And you have this other sort of ship lady, Takao, going in to whisper into Fubuki's ear that something very personal of Atago's is in this charm. And I'm just like, do I even want to know what's in there? Because, of course, Atago does not want her to tell, spilled beans what is in that luck charm. But they give her, this is to say Fubuki, blueberries to help with her eyesight at night and everything like that. They give her a ton of food, trying to get up her strength and her, I guess, healing abilities and all that kind of stuff. Really just going above and beyond to show her support and let her know that, you know, they have confidence in her abilities and she needs to have that confidence as well. And so by the time this battle unfolds, you know, they've been staking out the island, but they end up seeing that some of the enemy forces are sort of sending like little ships out and little planes out to scout the area, and they end up getting found and have to get chased away from their little stakeout position. And this is where the battle truly unfolds. They get into like a diamond formation on top of the water, and they're getting surrounded from both sides. They have enemy vessels coming back toward the island, which they're trying to, you know, make their escape toward unknowingly until they're right on top of them. And then they have some forces following them from behind as well. And you have Nagato back at the sort of hub office trying to come up with an alternate plan, you know, trying to get some extra forces in there, such like that. And so this battle goes down, and Fubuki really turns kick-ass. I mean, she really finds the confidence with the words given to her by Mutsuki as well as Akagi and everything like that. And there's this point where Akagi is, or rather Mutsuki is about to be, you know, blown away. And you basically have Yudachi screaming out her name, and boom, all of a sudden here's Fubuki. Just lightning scream gets right in the way of this impending missile attack, and she fires point blank at this enemy vessel and just blows the hell out of it. And I was rooting. I was like, you know, fist pump in the air, like, hell yes. Fubuki totally manned up in that moment. And we basically see that, I think it's like a second squadron or whatever it is, just manages to get there in time, almost like the cavalry over the hill in the Indian attack in the old westerns. They get there just in time to take out the enemy forces. Now, here is where that emotional impact comes in. Basically, you know, Fubuki and her little squadron, they get back, and we see that sort of left out in the middle of the water during this battle, Kisaragi, you know, she's mulling over her hair being sort of messed up from the battle, and we see there's one final enemy plane, warplane, you know, with a missile. It fires it just as it expires itself. It blows up, and that missile impacts Kisaragi. She goes down, and, you know, we're basically seeing her under the water, reaching out her arm, reaching out her hand, as if imploring her will toward, you know, Mutsuki, who is nowhere in the area. She has no idea what's happened. Nobody really has any idea what's happened. And once, you know, Torpedo Squadron 3 has gotten back home, Mutsuki's first question is, where's Torpedo Squadron 4? You know, are they okay? Are they coming back? And so she's really excited. She goes down to the end of the pier, hoping to be the first to welcome Kisaragi back. But we then see Nagato is telling the Admiralty, you know, we have information from Torpedo Squadron 4. Kisaragi was hit. She was on fire. She went down. They were trying to search for her for a long time, and they gave up after a while because they couldn't find her. And so officially Kisaragi's sunk. And I didn't, you know, the emotional impact with which that hit me, I didn't expect. I didn't expect to be as, you know, resoundingly knocked aback by it and affected by it. I think the 1-2 punch of the shocking revelation of Kisaragi going down, but then toward the end of the episode, you know, the whole end credits are basically seeing the excitement with which Mutsuki is going out to that pier and Fubuki's following her, and they're just so happy and so excited they can't wait to welcome her back. The heartbreak that is about to come, and I don't know how much of that's going to carry over into the next episode, but it was enough to leave me like, wow. So far, this show has been able to be fun and quirky, dramatic. It has been inspiring. And, you know, with the Fubuki character, she's someone to aspire toward being like, because of her lack of wanting to give up and everything like that. And just give it her all and give it her best shot every step of the way. But then also to have such a dramatic, emotional impact that I just frankly wasn't expecting. We're talking about a character, you know, we haven't really spent much time with, but through the way Mutsuki, you know, envisions her and cares about her, it's kind of an extension of that. and you know the impact that it's going to have with Mitsuki is going to be a horrible one. And so that just really tugged at my heart by the end of this particular episode. And so yeah, I can't wait to see where we go from here. Just another, you know, blow 'em away kind of episode as far as I was concerned. I love getting to see all the ins and outs of all these different characters. And of course, we're introduced to different characters here and there that I'm sure people who have followed the game series this is based on and everything like that are much more familiar with than I am. And of course, as I always say, pointers in the comments below, as long as they aren't spoilery, are always appreciated to give me that much more depth and understanding of the world that, you know, these characters inhabit, and kind of, you know, their prowess, their you know, the components of their weaponry and all that kind of stuff. I always like getting information like that in the comments below on the previous videos especially, because it gives me that much more understanding and appreciation of what's going on, what these characters are like, and the world they find themselves in, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, otherwise I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Kantai Collection KanColle, and whether you enjoyed it or not, that kind of thing, whether it, you know, went beyond your expectations, as it did with me, with the emotional impact and the you know, action in the sequences of battle and all that kind of stuff, or if it left you falling flat and that kind of thing. Anything goes. I'd love to hear from you. So otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.